Mike was too short to be able to see over his desk and see you there, Jeff.
Listen, old dirty bastard. You look like fucking old dirty bastard resurrected. Here's a song for you, Ron. Hold on. This is for you, Ron, from Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, Lord, this is how we going to start the show.
This is for you, Ron. You need a career like this, you fucking fag. Who loves you?
First of all, we don't own the rights to this music, just so I can say that. And I just want to say, and so you think you got problems. I'm Jeff Keller.
I'm Ron Bush.
And I'm Mike Muratori, baby.
And after you listen to this show, if you want to be a guest on our show, you can email me or DM me at it's my mom's white on Instagram or Twitter, or you can just hit me up on Facebook, Ron.
My name is Ron Bush, as y'all motherfuckers know, at Ron.Bush and the number 1, Instagram, Facebook, or hit me up on the website, ronbushonline.com. You'll be able to email me from there. And then we have the world's most famous Oompa Loompa down here. Mike, introduce yourself.
Thank you, old dirty bastard.
Thank you.
I'm Mike
Thank you.
Muratori,
That's a compliment.
And I thank you. You can find me on Midget Demon at Midget Demon on Twitter, Serial Killer Comedy on Instagram, and Mike Muratori on Facebook, and Serial Killer Comedy my website. And you want to be on our show? Hit us up. Our guest tonight is one of our closest friends. He used to run the Sycamore Comedy Club. Give a large round of applause to Trevor Keveloh.
Trevor, yes, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It's good seeing your face again, man. I haven't seen you since March, right? So
yeah, March 14th we shut down.
Yeah. No, I was, I'm glad to see that you're doing well, and hopefully everybody in your family is well, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, the ones that are still alive are doing okay.
Good.
Yeah.
And the ones that are dead, I'm sure they're doing better than they were before. So let's just
doing a lot better. I think the ones that are dead they're probably doing better than us right now.
Absolutely. Real quickly, did you see how Mike Muratori dances? It's like one of those little tiny air balloon things on the side of the room.
You're just jealous because you're going through menopause. Fuck you.
It was just short and fat. It was like a dancing thumb.
Your vagina is falling out. I know what you're going through. It's over for you. You're menopausal, man.
All right, can we get back to the guest here, because he's the one that got the problems, not us.
All right. Trevor's problem.
Everyone's much more interested in Trevor.
Yes, I agree. Trevor's problem is this: everybody busts this guy's balls about trying to get on shows, and we're in a fucking COVID situation. It's insane. Trevor, tell your story.
All right, so I ran the Dojo Comedy for 3 years at Sycamore Tavern. I managed the restaurant as well. I managed there for like 3 or 4 years. When I worked there, Mike, you have firsthand knowledge of the fucking torture I went through between comics, open micers, because there's a fucking difference, promoters, producers, everyone constantly up my fucking ass every day about what they can do and just getting stage time, like a bunch of fucking addicts. That's how it was. Shit shut down. And I still had people, to this day, hitting me up. When I was saying this earlier, when the restaurant started to slowly reopen, I think it was like phase 2 or 3, indoor seating open, I had 3 people in a few hours message me to see how I'm doing. People I haven't heard of, people I don't talk to, people I don't have any sort of friendship with, checking in on me to see how I'm doing. As I'm looking at my phone, reading the tweets about how they're opening up restaurants, I have people texting me, saying hi. Do you think I'm fucking stupid? It's all over fucking Los Angeles news. It's all over media, social media, that the restaurants are opening up. So people start hitting me up, checking in to see how I'm doing. I've had guys that I don't even fucking interact with message me, DM me, text me about doing parking lot shows. Who the fuck parking lot shows?
Hey, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant idea.
It's a brilliant idea, but that neighborhood's gone to absolute dog shit. So you do a parking lot show, and basically it's the 15 comics that are there trying to get their 5 minutes, a couple of their friends, and then 100 fucking homeless people walking in and out. Then it turns into a fucking problem with policing it and with the safety of people, because that area has gone to absolute shit.
That's an audience. What are you talking about?
That's
I want
yeah.
to see the homeless eat the comics. I want to see the homeless cannibalize the comics.
Let's see a dozen meth heads try to stay focused for 5 minutes while somebody talks about their hometown and how awful it is.
It'd be like that right there.
Yeah. Man, I mean, I honestly, I love what I've done. I'm very proud of what I created here. But about 95% of the people I interacted with, I don't hear from, and I'm fucking happy. I'm really happy I don't hear from a lot of these people, because I know I could tell after about 6 or 8 months after I got sober, I could tell who was full of shit and who wasn't. Who's trying to be my pal? There we go. Lawyers. I could tell who was trying to be my pal, who wasn't, who was just there to get their shit done. And I gave everyone a shot, and that was my problem. I was too nice of a guy. And then I started to turn the leaf, and I got a little more rigid, and people didn't like that. And I got to that point where when we shut down, I'm not gonna lie, I was fucking relieved.
Yeah.
March 15th, I was scared, and I was like, what are we gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I thought about it, and I took some time off, and I'm like, I'm fucking relieved. This is a fucking stressful job, being the lead manager of this restaurant and running this club and trying to get my own, time in and producing my own shows. I'm like, this is just, it wasn't worth it at the end of the day. I look at my bank account, I'm like, this ain't worth it.
Yeah.
It is stressful. I ran a room for a couple of years on Fridays and Saturdays, and it just comics wear you the fuck out.
Comics are fucking torture, man. You're like fucking vampires.
And I feel like it was like the comics that weren't good were the ones that were the most persistent. Not even open micers. A lot of open micers would just look at me and they wouldn't even talk to me. And then I'd go like perform. They would look at me like, I'm not that intimidating. Maybe I look intimidating when I'm just sitting there with my shit-eating fucking grin on my face because I'm just annoyed. But most open micers wouldn't even approach me. And occasionally they come up and talk to me, and I'm just like, what do you want? Like, and I've told every single person there, I'm like, if you want, these are independent shows. If you want to get on a show, you talk to the promoter. And I've had people I don't even know, like, well, how do I get on a show? And I'm like, I literally just told you exactly what to do. And, well, like, can I get on one of your shows? I'm like, I don't know who you are. My shows are saved for my people. My one show a month is saved for my people, and we're lucky to get 10 people in that audience.
Hey, Trevor, remember when you did the pizza mic where you would fucking judge them? That shit was the fucking greatest. You would judge them like they were auditioning for the Apollo, and you would fucking torture them.
Oh, dude, half the time, I'd say there's a handful of comics. I was like, okay, I put this person this guy, girl on a show. Most of them, a minute or two in, I'm just like looking at my phone. I'm like, this is fucking torture. Like, is this hell? Like, am I going through purgatory or whatever the fuck it's called? I was like, this is fucking awful.
Trevor, first of all, I want to thank you for everything you did for the comedy scene here in LA, because you really did open up another venue for people to be able to do shows at, and like everybody here, everyone on this Zoom right now, we've all run rooms and done shows. First of all, you touched on 3 things I'd like to back you up on. One is you are sober now, which I greatly applaud, and I'd like to hear more about that. 2, but start off with, explain to people who are not comedians and to comedians and comics and open micers who think they are, what the difference is between an open micer and a real comedian / comic, and what it takes for a business to actually run. Because what I've noticed is a lot of open micers, they don't have respect for the venue. They think they're owed the opportunity to go up and tell shitty jokes. They don't want to pay them, for a drink or even a can of Coke. They don't want to do these things. And so, first of all, talk about, what that's all about. And then I'd love to talk to you about your addiction, because I'm in recovery too. And
okay, cool.
You got to recover from dick, Ron. You got to recover.
Wait, Ron's in recovery? Where'd you recover from?
You lying motherfucker. You got to recover from dick.
I've real quickly, and I want everybody to understand this. When we let Mike Moore tour out from underneath the bridge that he lives, you sometimes have these problems. Okay, so do not be fazed if he says
dirty bastard, who loves you?
If he says something ridiculous or out of text or something from the 70s, okay, just ignore it. We'll address it soon.
Put the dick down, Ron. Put the dick down.
Yeah, I'm in recovery and money programs, okay, and that are associated with Alcoholics Anonymous, Under Earners Anonymous, Debtors Anonymous, and so that's why I would love to talk to you about what your recovery is. And I'm a recovered drug addict as well, but I never went through a recovery program for that. But going back to just I definitely want people who are not comedians and those people who think they are, to hear what you have to say. Someone who ran a venue that did that for so long, those two different issues about the open micers and what it takes to run a business that hosts comedians, and then everything we're talking about.
My opinion, strictly Trevor, nobody else. Right. What I've seen, what I've gathered, the difference between an actual comedian and an open micer is open micers tend to stay in open mics. They don't. they don't grow. They just sit in the dirt and just play in the dirt, and they never fucking grow. They never reach out, and they never get on shows, and they say how they've done all these mics. They brag about all these mics, but all these mics are filled with open micers, which most of the time, are not paying attention. They're on their phone. They're trying to fuck the waitress or fuck the waiter or whatever. They don't give a shit. They're there to get their stage time and leave. That's what I've seen. That's my experience. The difference between an open micer and a comedian. An open micer can easily turn into a comedian. That's pretty much the process you're going for. But when I would listen, I would eavesdrop. I would sit there like I'm busy, and I would listen to all these comics all around the bar, upstairs, downstairs, on the patio especially, and they'd be bragging about how many mics they did. And I know years ago, I heard this on a Rogan podcast. He talked about how open micers have a false sense of reality because they hear these phantom laughs. They hear people sometimes laughing to try to get the crowd to laugh because they're not doing well. And that's something that stuck with me when I started running the clubs. I was like, because there's essentially 2 rooms in the club, I would watch a lot of open micers, and they would just grind the open mic, but then I'd check their Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, or whatever. They're never on shows. They're just doing open mics. Like, I don't know if it was their way of just expressing themselves and feeling better because they have a shit job or they hate their life, or if they just didn't have the fucking balls to jump on a show or to push or to submit themselves to a promoter or producer. And that's my interpretation. That's what I've seen. That's the difference. And like I said, open micers are supposed to turn into comics. A lot of them don't. They just hide out in open mics.
And then the second part of the 3-part question. I'm sorry, and I'm turning it over to you guys, Mike and John. I'm sorry about that. But then running a mic, and these people that that have this idea that it's owed to them, that they don't want to pay money. Yes. And all these other things in one of the largest metropolitan cities in the world. Go ahead.
So that was fun. We did buy something. I didn't pocket any money. I was fucking honest. I was trying to make the bar money because ultimately you pay. Buying something keeps the lights on in this bar. If I had a free show, it would have never flown. My owners would have been like, no, how are we going to make money? It's not my venue. It's their venue. All I ask these people are to buy something. You can buy a pop for $3 and give 25 fucking refills, which a lot of these fucking cunts would do. They'd sit there and suck refills all day. $3, and a lot of these cunts don't fucking tip. So $3, and they get free parking and a parking lot. Not just free parking, a fucking parking lot. That's huge. So all it was this. You pay for the drink, you get your 5 minutes. Some you got more than 5 minutes. You've seen these light shows, they let people go up for 10 minutes. Fucking what's his name? The old guy that ran the club across the street that shut down, the little room.
Marty.
Marty, yeah.
Marty,
dude, I'm doing
tons of fucking time there.
Dude, Marty would have
Love
7
Marty.
people in there and they'd be doing 10 minutes each. And I'm like, cool. Like, I didn't give a shit. I stayed away from that. I kind of let the mic room run itself. But when it was always at night there, I'd see people bring in like In-N-Out or chips or food. I saw a guy bring in beer, like all that stuff. And I literally walked up to people and threw them out myself and said, don't ever fucking come back here. I got real fucking old school Chicago. I threw them out and I said, I don't want to fucking see your face here again. Like, you disrespect the club. It's against the health code. We get enough fucking problems in that place with the health code violations. And it's just a slap in the face. It's like, just buy the $3. For $3, you get 5 minutes. That's a fucking deal for me. That's all you had to do. We didn't expect anything
what's
more.
your opinion on this, Jeff?
Yeah.
I just think open micers suck. They need to fucking just stop doing comedy. These motherfuckers, man, they taking up stage time for real comics. These motherfuckers, they got 5 friends or 10 friends. They think they comics. No, motherfucker, you just somebody that's bringing people to lie to you. That's what the fuck you doing.
Yeah.
My
Bringer
favorite,
shows.
Trevor, you know my pet peeve. You guys are gonna laugh. My favorite is the old white bitches that fucking suck, that take a comedy class, bomb, and then want to give you advice on your you fucking cunts. I'm gonna say it. I hope they hear this shit. You know who you are. You're not fucking funny. You don't even put the fucking time in to get fucking good at it. And then you have the fucking balls to come up to professional comics and give your 2 cents. Go fuck yourself. I'm glad COVID has wiped all you motherfuckers out.
Now, the thing that killed me about Trevor was Trevor would put together all these shows or let these people do shows and not do stage time. I'm like, Trevor, I said, your ass need to start telling these people you get 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
And they would fuck with him.
It's your club. And you doing it not for them, but for you to develop as a comedian.
People would look at me and they're like, I can give you 5 minutes at the end. And I'm like, 5 minutes at the end? I'm like, you just put up some fucking no-name, a comic that's it's not a comic. It's a person that brought people. That's, you know, I'm like, you just gave fucking shithead 12 minutes and I've never heard of this person in my life. I checked their Instagram. They're not even a comic. They just brought 12, or, 5, 6, 10 people, whatever. So they get 12 minutes. It's like, I mean, I've talked to promoters and producers, whatever, and comics from outside of LA. Apparently bringer shows is really more of an LA thing. A lot of other cities. Is it really New York?
Yeah, there's a lot of bringers in New York.
New York did that.
No, I'm going to tell you, I talked to a booker, man, and this booker told me that he will book somebody that's got 100,000 followers on Instagram before he book somebody from Last Comic Standing, because he knows there'll be 100,000, at least
right,
he's going to have
money.
200-300 people.
That's what sucks, man. It fucking sucks. Like, I started out there on a bringer show before I took over. We all know who. But I got my feet real wet, and I'm lucky, dude. I'm a lucky motherfucker. I started comedy in 2000. I didn't take it serious. I fucked around a lot in open mics. When I was in Chicago working at a bar, I used to open up for bands. I do comedy before a band, which was not fun and not easy because nobody's there to fucking listen to me tell dick jokes. Yeah. They're all there for the band. And then I moved out here 5.5 years ago, and I was able to I felt like I did, I'd say 7 to 10 years of actual stage time I was able to do in 4 years. Like, I'm lucky as fuck. I was getting up sometimes 4 times a night in that club. No bullshit. 2 open mics and 2 book shows.
Well,
I was
Ron,
getting
what's your opinion on all this shit, Ron? Because you see this shit too. We've all booked shows. It's fucking torture.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. I think that first of all, most people who are getting into comedy, we'll talk about open micers first. I think there's two things. There's comedians that are starting out as open micers, and there's people who are using comedy as therapy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's most comics, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
all let's go back to that nerd melt mic that we used to go on. You know what I mean? You just have comic after comic with like the same 10 premises. Tinder, Grinder, my mom won't pay my bills no more, my dad won't pay my bills no more, I'm living in my car, my girlfriend sucks, my boyfriend sucks, I think I'm coming out of the closet. It's like it's like, dude, listen, if you can go into any open mic and you hear your premise mentioned at least once, never tell that joke again. It's that simple, because 10,000 people are telling that joke, and I was told when I first started comedy that the definition of comedy is truth and pain. The number one rule is relatability. And so for you to be able to go into a comedy venue and get somebody of all of our age group, people who are married, people with girlfriends, people that are working, 40, 50 hours a week, and they're bringing their girlfriend or boyfriend out for a show. They're there for a birthday, whatever. They're there to forget their problems and enjoy themselves, not look at you vomit all over the place or use these shitty half-baked premises that go nowhere, and you're telling these jokes that literally have no point, or they're lies. You're telling these stories that are lies. They're not. It never happened to you, and so there's no truth in that. So no one's believing it, and therefore no one's laughing. And by the way, when you're booking shows, book comedians that you respect, that are at least as funny as you, if not better. You do not need to be the funniest person on the show. You're there to make people laugh. Right. You're there to make people laugh. And everybody on that show needs to be able to do that. But if you're just doing this nepotism where you and your buddies are going up there to jerk each other off in front of a crowd, you're never going to get people are going to come pay for that show. That's why it's so difficult to get people to come out to shows, because so many people have come out to shows and they've been such bullshit that they don't want to go back. They don't trust it. Real talk, And all these people that go to if you're paying somebody to teach you how to do comedy, you're not a comedian. Quit.
Oh, that's so bad.
Just quit. Just stop.
So bad.
What's your opinion on that, Jeff?
Well, I think, hey, Trevor, you need to do shows like I should start a show. I would start the show when I would MC at the beginning, and I would say, nothing says you got to do all your time. So if your ass ain't funny at 2, then get your ass off at 3.
and see, Jeff's got a good point, because when Jeff and I started, you would get heckled off of the fucking stage. If you couldn't keep their attention, you were heckled the fuck off. This shit where everybody's fucking buddy and supporting them is the worst fucking way to do comedy. Well, we're all supporting.
It's not right.
We're not
It's
gonna
fake.
fucking grow.
No, if your friends are fucking telling you or whoever, oh, good job. Like I've seen that shit at every comedy club. Good job, you killed it. Good job.
And they were horrible.
Yeah, I've been told good job, and I'm like, I did not do a good job. People weren't laughing; they were snickering because I was mildly funny. I'm like, that was not a good job. I'm like, good job that I went up there for 10 minutes. No, like I know when I fucking eat shit, and I ate shit. Like, don't give me that support. I don't need that.
Oh no! When we would start like at a comedy store, they would, if they didn't like you was wearing, they would boo you on the way to the stage. They'd be like, boo, motherfucker, boo. I mean, so when you got on stage, you like, shit, it was pressure. You like, you think, well, do I want to be a comedian or a plumber? Real quick, you make that decision within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Now it's not like that now. Now you cannot be funny for 10 minutes and your friends will say, oh, he was nice. Well, that was good. And the motherfucker comes back again. You don't come back again. You were horrible.
And Jeff and I will, and I know Ron has been there too. Jeff and I have been approached by comics where they will fucking have the balls to ask our opinion, which is so fucking not going to work out for them.
Don't ask me any.
It's like, what do you think of my act? Have you ever thought about murder on stage? Just killing yourself?
You ever
just
about quitting
yourself from a rafter?
Yeah, just quit.
Oh, dude, I would tell them. They get Mike standing when I tell them. They go, Jeff, what do you think? I say, you are horrible. Fucking horrible. They're like, what do you mean? I said, well, just look up the definition of horrible. They don't know what I mean.
I try and be. I guess I'm the diplomatic one on here. And,
you are way nicer than we are. You are way fucking nicer.
What I'll tell people is like, listen, kind of what I was just saying. Where is that joke coming from? What's the purpose of that joke? Pay attention to your joke structure. It's an art form. You just don't go up and vomit on stage. A comedian is art. They're performing. There's a rhythm. There's a timing. There's a purpose. There's a middle. There's a beginning. There's a middle. There's an end. There's all these things. And if you're not getting laughs, you're the problem. It's not the crowd. And generally speaking, I think that people that if you're not getting laughs. What I hate the most is people saying, "Oh, comedians are tough. It's almost impossible to get them to laugh." No. Mike, Jeff, Trevor, we get micers. Open micers will laugh.
Yeah,
they're people. If they're human, if they have eyeballs, lungs, and teeth and gums, you know what? They like to laugh.
Yeah.
And if you can't get them to laugh, it's because of you. It's not because. And I'm not saying, and this is generally speaking, I'm not saying every room is great or anything like that, but I'm just saying, if you are never getting laughs, you really need to take a look at who you are as a comedian and why you're not getting laughs instead of believing that everyone's supposed to be supportive of you because the world doesn't work that way. There's always going to be somebody who says something nasty. There's always going to be the asshole. There's always going to be some bully. There's always going to be X, Y, Z that doesn't agree with you. Get over it.
Yeah, I made a real fucking. I think I don't know where I said this, but maybe it was a tweet. I said it's real fucking simple for stand-up comedy. If you're funny, they laugh. If you're not funny, they don't laugh.
Right.
If they snicker a little bit, you got something. If you're doing this for years and that's kind of the protocol you stick to, and you go to these shows and you perform and no one's laughing, you're not funny. Quit. Right. Be a writer. Some people are great writers and they're shitty comics. I've seen plenty. Right. Some people bore me to death, but I'm like, that's a really good joke. They're just not any good at comedy. They don't have a stage presence. They're just not a comic. Some people develop into them. Of course, we don't all start out fucking perfect, but it's like, it's just like acting. You guys have acted. You've all acted. If you're fucking good, you're good. Some people are like, oh, I don't get booked because of this or because of that. Or, I have friends that are like, oh, I'm not getting booked because they're booking other nationalities and races now. And I'm like, no, I've seen your reel. You fucking suck. That's why you're not getting booked. It's not like they stopped booking white people. They just book
Trev.
You gotta work twice as hard, white guys and girls. The fucking the playing field is starting to even. You got to work twice as fucking hard. You can't just waltz in there because you're good looking. You got to be good. I've seen a lot of
Trevor and I have seen 2 reels of 2 of our friends. They are fucking. I was a casting director, people. They are. You 2 know who you are. You need to fucking quit. You 2 motherfuckers need to quit.
Go into production. Some actors think
that dick on fucking the street. You're delusional. Take a fucking acting class or quit. Because it's delusion.
And I want to say something that Jeff was touching on a few minutes ago. Everyone who knows my comedy is not meant for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I recognize, but I recognize that. And so if you're in front of a crowd where you have comedians waiting to get on stage and you have a real crowd there and you're not doing well, be a man or a woman and say, folks, that's my time. Let's bring up the next comedian.
Yeah.
Done. I don't give a fuck how long you've been on stage. Just leave. You can go across the street. You can go across the street and make people laugh. You can go to another show. The joke will work again. Life goes on.
No, that joke ain't gonna work again.
I told you, Jeff. I told you, Jeff. I'm trying to be nice. I'm the diplomatic one on this one.
You are the diplomatic.
When it comes to comedy, I'm an asshole. Fuck all that.
Don't shit all over an audience. So now the next comedian is basically standing in a room full of people whose eyes and noses are bleeding from the trash that you were doing.
Now they don't want to be there. If a comic sinks them and brings it down so low they don't want to be there, that comic up next has a fucking hard uphill battle to fight. And I've experienced it, especially, you know, these shows that I'm not technically booked on, they're just shows I'm like, hey, can I get up at the end? And they put usually the DJ up at the end or a friend or a drop in. And it's a lot of the times it wasn't anyone good. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh shit, I have to follow this. I have to bring the fucking, you know, I have to bring it back up because this comic or whatever the fuck they are sank the fucking crowd. And I'm like, really? What are you doing up there? Like, what are you doing?
My favorite thing, and you guys can chime, I want all three of you to chime in on this. My favorite thing is when the bringer booker headlines his own show. Jeff and I were upstairs one night, and we're watching this person. I won't say his name, but he's Asian. Fuck your stupid, unfunny ass. This motherfucker is doing jokes from 1927 and thinks he's going to kill it. Motherfucker, they're not here to see you. You got people there that can't cover 5 minutes of stage time that have 40 fucking people. Where do you get your fucking balls? Where do you get your fucking balls? You guys chime in on that shit, where the bringer booker is the fucking headliner.
Well, that guy was doing Jerry Lewis jokes. That was the funny part of it. Nobody knew because they were so old. No, my thing is, Ron, this is why I don't talk to comics no more that are horrible. Because when you give them advice, they don't fucking listen. That's the deal. They think you wrong. You like, well, you don't get it. They think they fucking were brilliant. So when you try to give them advice, they think you're old and bitter. So I said, well, you know what? Fuck you. You're horrible and you're always going to be horrible. So kiss my ass. You don't get no advice from me.
Yeah, well, I get it. I get it. Just to touch off what Mike was saying, if you are doing a bringer booker show and you're the headliner, go stop. Again, think about it this way. Just think about it this way, and then all of you just chime in this one, okay? I've been working all week. Me and my girlfriend, between the two of us, we probably make $50,000 to $100,000 a year. We're busy. We have rent, mortgages, credit, all these things going on in our life, okay? We want a night out on the town. We have kids. We hire a babysitter. We pay for parking. We buy some drinks. Maybe we go to dinner before that. So by the end of the night, you're probably into this about between $60 to $120 each.
Yeah.
For the night, okay? And all you wanted to do, because you've been sick of watching Netflix, you're sick of watching fucking Hulu and seeing stand-up comedians there, you just want to laugh.
And then what happens, Ron? You get a black gay guy say he gonna fuck your boyfriend, and then you get a black guy that say you the white devil. So
or you get a comment that just says, you're a bunch of fucking cunts. I wonder who that is.
And that's the fantastic part of it, because I get to fuck your boyfriend, and he didn't know he was getting dick that night.
I've seen it. You sneak up on him. You're fucking scary, dude.
But seriously,
it only cost him $120. Look at that.
Yeah, but seriously, that's how you have to look at it, right? I mean, it's like, it's not about you. My acting coach used to say it the best. And when it comes to rehearsals and going to acting class, but the same thing's going to open mics. When you're at open mics, that's your rehearsal. That's our gym time as comedians. That's where we work at our stuff, see what works, perfect our jokes, make sure the timing is down, all that, insert phrase here, whatever, done, okay? But when there's a real paying audience out there, it has nothing to do about you. It's all about them. And you're there to entertain. You're there to entertain, enlighten, and educate. That's what comedians do. And if you're not doing that,
and see, listen, Trevor goes through what I go through. When we were at the Ice House, I would get such abuse from the fucking club itself. It was, the level of abuse was like crazy. Didn't know what I do. And sometimes you can't even book the fucking people you want to book because you're getting controlled by the fucking club. That's a whole nother fucking trip to the torture chamber. So it's like comics would hit me up and they'd be like, why can't I get on? Like, what has nothing to fucking do with me? They don't fucking want you here. Thing I can fucking do. And the funny thing about it is, well, not just that, all these motherfuckers that I've actually helped out have never hooked me up with a fucking thing, and I'm totally cool about it. But it's like, when the COVID ends, all that shit's getting kicked to the wayside. Nobody's getting me on our fucking fuck because they all fucking suck. It's all torture.
You know, and now, Trevor, now back to the original point, because I'm really interested in hearing this, especially somebody who owns a bar and a restaurant and you're in recovery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's that?
I said I managed. I didn't own. Yeah, I don't want people getting the wrong.
Sorry about that.
If they think I'm the owner, they're gonna start calling me again.
What was the poison and what was that about?
2 years. I've been sober 2 years, 5 months. I was down in San Diego with my buddy, and we were getting out of. I was just wanting to get out of LA for a few days because I was just like, I'm fucking sick of LA. Like, you know how it wears on you. So I went to San Diego with my buddy. I just wanted to go there. All I wanted to do is fucking drink Coronas, sip Jameson, and get high at the beach. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to do anything else. My buddy had different ideas. He decides to get a bunch of fucking Coke. And I'm like, I don't want to do any Coke. I'm not interested. I'd only done Coke for about 3 years at that point. When I moved here, I started doing Coke. Before that, I'd never done Coke in my life. So I was like, I'm not interested. He's like, come on. It's really good. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do any Coke. I'm not interested. So about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm pretty fucking hammered. I'm like, hey, where's that Coke? And we go in the bathroom, and he's like, it's really good. And I blast the line, and I was like, oh, this is really good Coke. Now I know why we went out of our way to get it. Blast another line. I was doing fine. Did a little bit more, not much. We were in PB, part of San Diego. He was inside I think a Denny's or a restaurant peeing or probably doing more Coke. I don't know. I was outside. At that point, I was pretty fucked up. I was just hammered. I was stoned. I had Coke in me, so I was, wasn't falling over. And someone came up behind me, stabbed me. I thought I was getting robbed or jumped. I dropped my phone and my shit, and then I looked at my buddy's truck, and the door was open, and I'm like, oh, they're trying to carjack us. So I go over to his truck, and then I look around, and like I said, I'm fucked up, and I see someone just take off. It just like fizzled out like they do in the fucking TV show and like NCIS and CSI. It looked just like that. I just saw it, like a vision just leave, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then I bled out. I went across the street. I looked at my neck. There's a little cut there, and then I started wiping it clean, and then the blood just started gushing out like real bad. I called my buddy. He came running across the street, took his sweatshirt off, put it around my neck. We jumped in his car, went to the ER. By the time I got to the ER, 20 minutes fucking later, by the way, I was just soaked in blood. I lost over 2 pints of blood. I had emergency surgery. I had a blood transfusion. I was in the ER room. The place went fucking crazy. It looked like the ball dropped at New Year's because I walked in there and it was dead. And then all of a sudden I pull off my sweatshirt and there's blood everywhere. They hit these buttons. I go into this ER room. I'm cracking jokes. I'm all fucked up. And I was like, and I literally almost lost my life. They said that after the surgeons went in, they thought that it hit the carotid artery, which it did not. They said it was about roughly a quarter inch away from it. And I got out of the hospital or ER emergency surgery. I was sitting in the hospital bed and I'm just sitting there crying and trying to figure out what the fuck happened. And the doctor comes in and he goes, everything's okay. He goes, that's as close as it gets to dying. I'm glad you're alive. Pats me on the shoulder, walks out, and I sat there for 12 hours alone in a hospital bed. And I'm like, I got to change my life. I don't want to do this. And I got sober the next day. That day that was it. I'm like, I'm done. I went home. I think I smoked weed for a few more days after that to help sleep. And then one day I took all my weed and everything. I gave it to my buddy. I had flushed all my coke down the toilet and I was done. And about 90 days later, I got into AA. I started doing that for a while. I tell people I dip my foot in the pool of AA, but I don't jump in. Nothing against AA. AA is amazing. It's helped a shit ton of people. It's just not for me 100%. I've got commitment issues. That's probably why. But I go here. I went here and there. I went when I needed it. I knew if I had a problem, I could go there. If I felt something going on, I could go there. And then one of my good friends I grew up with back outside Chicago, he actually went to my first AA meeting with me, and we've become really close. And he's kind of like, he's not my sponsor or anything. He's just my friend. He calls me and I can tell he needs to talk and vent because he works in a bar restaurant in West Hollywood, and he fucking hates it because he's in a bar like me. I've worked in bars for 15 years. You know, I developed a drinking problem. I didn't have a drinking problem 15 years ago. I developed one. So, yeah, I've been sober since. No weed, no booze, no weed, booze, blow, and weed. I'm off. However, and I'm gonna be honest, last summer I started microdosing with mushrooms here and there, and it has completely helped me. And it's whatever it's doing, it's working. And I know it's questionable with sobriety, but the one thing I learned about sobriety is it's about me. My sobriety is about me. I'm off the shit that fucked my life up. I started using mushrooms here and there, and it's really fucking helped me gain better focus, and I don't feel so shitty about myself and about my past. So, and they're looking into that. Johns Hopkins, you know, has got an $18 million fucking, was financed $18 million to look into the positive benefits of you know, mushrooms, whatever it's called. I forgot the medical term, but I'm open about it. I don't talk about it all the time, but I'm open, and it's helped me. And I'd rather microdose a little bit than take shit the doctors are giving people that are dying. You know, all the people are on. I mean, I've got family that's got so many fucking problems, and I'm like, you know, I've lost 2 family members to drugs. I almost lost another. I've also actually almost lost 2 now. And it's like, you know, I'm like, I would love for them to get on mushrooms, microdosing, rather than just being fed all these different pills. You know, it's really scary.
What's your opinion on this, Jeff?
You know, I think it's great that he's almost died to get sober.
Yeah, that's what it took.
So that's basically what it took. That's what it takes for most people. I mean, the same thing happened to me with cocaine. I had a friend that was a cocaine dealer, and it was my birthday, and he wrote in cocaine, Jeff Keller, and you know, as an addict, you're not satisfied with that, so you're like, no, actually, my name is Jeffrey Kurt Christopher Keller.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it right.
You better do that on stage.
So, you know, I snorted the whole thing, and then I stayed up all night, and then you get to that point where you really forget how to breathe, and you feel your heart doing all that.
Yep.
And I basically made a deal with God and said, you know, if you let me live, I'll never do it again, and I never did it again after that.
That's actually almost kind of exactly what I said. When I was getting operated on, they put the mask on me, and they said, just breathe and count backwards. And I said, and I legit said, I was like, please don't let me die. I have too much to live for. You can't let me die. And they said, you're in good hands. You'll be okay. And I said, you don't understand. I can't die. I have too much to live for. And then they put the mask on me, and I started praying and crying at the same time. And then I just woke up in a hospital room. And when I woke up, there was detectives in there, surgeons, nurses, and I thought I was dead at one point. When I opened my eyes, I thought I was dead. I was like, is this it? Am I done? So I started like moving my fingers around, and I'm like, okay, I can feel my fingers. I can feel my hands. I started, and then within 30 seconds, the fucking detectives were on my ass, asking me every question. And I'm like, I don't even know where I am right now. And they were up my ass the whole time, and they finally left. And I didn't know what the fuck happened. It took me so long to even piece it together. And still to this day, I don't really know.
Wow.
So yeah.
So how do you feel,
Yeah, no.
Trevor, how do you feel now when you get around alcohol or people doing cocaine or smoking? How do you deal with that?
Weed, I got it. I started smoking weed I'm 42 when I was 31. I got into the weed game late. Drinking has been part of my family. I'm from the Midwest. It's kind of our thing. And I only did coke for 3 years. So the drinking, I'm so desensitized to it because I've worked in bars so long that I'm just like, whatever. But I don't like being in a bar past a certain time because I know what happens at that certain time. I know people's addiction where it goes after a certain amount of drinks or whatever. And I don't like being out past 11 or 12 anywhere that has alcohol. I'd rather go to a diner till 5 in the morning than go to a bar till 2 in the morning. Weed, it's whatever. It doesn't really bother me. Coke, there we go. I've had people still ask me for coke to this day, and I've started to cut those people out of my life completely. Like, and they know my story. They know what happened, and I'm like, you're asking the wrong dude. Like, I don't talk to anybody I ever got coke from. Even my friends, I just don't talk to them, and it's nothing personal. It's what I need to do to keep myself, kind of safe in a sense. And honestly, I'm looking at a life of never having to be around alcohol again when I go to work. That's my goal. I no longer want to have to work in a bar restaurant in order to make ends meet or to, further my career. It's just not what I want to do. I don't want to be around that. Even if it's like, a chill place, it doesn't matter. I just don't want to be around it anymore. It's a choice I'm starting to make.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I started doing coke when I was like 13 or 14 years old. It was my first lines. And, when I got into, in my 20s, I'd say from 19 till 24, 25, I did coke pretty much every other day. Then I took a small, with a longtime friend of mine, I took maybe 2 years off. And then after that, just dealing with all of my issues. I was a raging cokehead basically for the better part of 15, 20 years, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's a lot of fucking cocaine.
Yeah. When I was I lived in Aruba for 9 months, and a lot of people know this story, but my wake up, the beginning of my wake up call, I believe it was 2002, 2001, and I was in Aruba. No. This is when I was still living there, and it's 2000, and I woke up on the floor of this villa that we were staying in, and for my birthday, they'd given me, the Aruba has all the rich South Americans there, so a lot of them are bunch of people are like drug cartel. So some of the guys who are friends with to this day, they gave me a key of cocaine and a key of weed for my birthday.
Damn.
Right. And I'm talking, a real, not some fake shit, like in the wrapper, we went to this hotel. There's some DJs and there's some DJ friends of mine that we ended up, we cut this brick in half with one of those big serrated knives. And I gave half of it back to the dude who gave it to me. I was like, dude, you're trying to fucking kill me, right? And sure enough, like not to, again, just to make a long story short, I woke up on the floor in this villa, and when I opened my eyes, there was the blood that had bled out of my face, it was dried on my face. Cocaine was on there. There were footprints all over the floor, blood and cocaine all over the place. I went and I looked at myself in the mirror with dried blood on the side of my face and just cocaine all over and I looked at myself, and that was the first time I actually saw what I looked like as an addict. Yeah. And I knew in that moment I was killing myself. And I knew in that moment that there weren't but so many more of those type of events that I had left in me. And I called my boys up and I was like, I'm leaving. I have to leave. And they were like, yeah, you probably should. And I came back to the States, and even after that, it took me about 2 or 3 years to truly stop doing cocaine. And I went probably the better part of 12 years without doing any. And now, maybe I'll do a bump like a year, if I'm out, whatever, that's my usage in that. But I've never, I'm trying my best to slow down and stop smoking weed right now. Alcohol's never been a problem for me. I never, and ecstasy and ketamine, those were like my cocaine, ecstasy, and ketamine were my favorites. Going back to what you were saying there, Trevor, mushrooms actually, if you talk to a shaman, they're very healing. They're very spiritual. And so it helps soothe your self-conscious and helps you come to terms with a lot of the abuses and things that we live through as people. And become better people. So I totally identify with you on the microdosing, and I don't think I'll ever stop doing shrooms. I haven't done shrooms in probably like a year or so. But I do love them.
You two motherfuckers, I love you. You both need to stop doing motherfucking shrooms because you're both crazy. That's all I got to say.
No way, man. It's the only thing that.
And Jeff is in the background thinking what I'm fucking thinking. Listen, motherfuckers, I love both of you. I've been in rehab 6 motherfucking times. And I have been sober as of Saturday 1 year, and I've done it all.
Shit.
1
That's
year.
right.
And I can tell you this: cocaine is the fucking greatest drug on the face of the fucking earth. But it will.
But go ahead.
It will eventually fucking kill you. It's just a question of when it'll get you. But it's gonna get you. It's like the Grim Reaper. It's gonna get you. When you least expect it. It's coming for you. It's going to be waiting for you. Come with me. It's over. So you two, you can listen. You can both experiment with shrooms, and maybe Ron will go straight, and Trevor will sort of go straight, and you motherfuckers can stop. But I've seen the aftermath of bad ecstasy, bad Molly, bad shrooms. Some of those motherfuckers never come out of it. Jeff, have you ever done shrooms?
No, actually, somebody offered me some yesterday. Actually, somebody want me to come over and go do shrooms with them. I'm like, nah, I'm in the COVID-19. I ain't doing shit. I'm in the Rona. Don't mess with me.
With the shrooms, for me, it was, I need something. I spent about 2 years reading about it. Before I even got sober, I was reading about mushrooms, and I'm like, And then I read about the people that are actually taking it to help them fix themselves. I'm not taking it because I can't party. I'm done. I've lived a wonderful life. When it comes to partying, I've lived a great life. I spent a lot of time in Vegas. I had dinner and drinks. I got hammered with Anthony fucking Bourdain. I've partied with all the fucking UFC fighters. I've had a great life. I've had fun. I don't care about the party. I cared about fixing what the party did. What they've said is it helps reconnect the synapses in your brain, which is helping people with addiction and depression. I've never dealt with depression, but being sober, I have dealt with some low shit. Not like suicidal shit at all, but like just not feeling good, not like kind of missing that high of a party. And then I got over that. The shit that I've dealt with, Ron, that you'll get, the other two fucking animals won't, especially Mike. Jeff is all right. Mike's the animal. Jeff is more like his keeper. Ron, you'll get this. When I went to Northern Arizona for 6 days, and I microdosed every day just a little bit. And I thought about my life, and the one time I sat there at the Grand Canyon for an hour, and everything started to fucking make sense. I started to have, don't want to get too tacky, but I had a spiritual revolution. I really started to understand what I want out of life and what I should be doing. And the thing was, I realized 2 things. I don't want to be around alcohol anymore. That's it. And the other thing is, I'm sick of making other people money. I probably brought Sycamore Tavern at least $1 million in 2 years, and I'm not exaggerating. I look at what I got paid. Not very, yeah, just pebbles. And I understand overhead and all that, but still, it was like I did so much and I got so little, and I've done that my whole life in the bar industry because I've usually fucking drunk the whole time. So I decided, I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to continue to make other people tons of money and I get this percentage. And that's something I just kind of happened. I was in Sedona, I was in Jerome, and then I went to the Grand Canyon, and I really, I got back to me. I got back to Trevor, and I really figured shit out, and it helps so much. And it was what I needed. And I'm like, I came back and I've changed. You guys, Mike saw that a couple weeks ago on that Zoom show. I'm just fucking, I love comedy. I'm never going to stop doing it, but I've grown to legitimately hate Hollywood. I can't stand living here.
He killed it. Like, he had like this weird fucking breakthrough because he had like the best set out of all of us, and it was fucking hilarious because he didn't give a fuck. And the whole shit about you want to be with your father, and you want to kill yourself and be with your father, that beats you. It's some funny fucking shit.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Trevor, I'm really happy to hear that story. And thank you for sharing that. My psychologist, he says that mushrooms as a therapeutic helps heal a fragmented subconscious where you store different memories and emotions that were traumatic to you. And then, like you're saying, once all that starts coming together, then you can have that realization where you start feeling more whole. And the mushroom tea, like if you go to Jamaica, is something that they do, and it's Rastafarians, it's a spiritual thing. But there's always those people, certain, people that do too much DMT or too much of it.
Yeah.
It's like anything, if you do too much, it's
anything.
a drug addict.
You can drink too much water. You can hurt yourself by drinking too much water. I mean, that's not, yeah.
But the problem though is you gotta know the difference between that and self-medicating.
Absolutely.
And knowing that, I may be covering up some emotions, some feelings that I don't want to deal with. Right. And they make me depressed or make me feel a different way. So then I start doing drugs, so I stop feeling that way. So you really have to be careful about when you start getting into those things.
So on that note, that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I'll be honest and I'll get a little deep here. When I was at the Grand Canyon, I was right at the ledge, but I was sitting down very comfortably. And I walked towards the ledge and I looked down and I got like this, I can't explain it, but this fear just just hit me and wouldn't let me go. And I looked down and it was the fear of dying. And it was like, and I've never feared dying. I've feared the unknown, and my biggest fear is not doing enough in my life here. And I sat there and I looked down and I looked across the Grand Canyon, and I was like, I can't worry about that anymore. I have to worry about doing what I can do to be a better person and to the people around me. But also with sobriety, this is the crazy part. The beautiful balance is sobriety has taught me boundaries. Like, I don't let people fucking walk over me anymore. I was a fucking pushover. Now, if you fuck with me, we're done. That's it. I don't care if I've known you 20 years, we're done. If you're my brother, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, and you fuck me, we're done. Like, that's a way of protecting me and the shit I've been through and my vulnerability. You guys see my stand-up. The stuff about my dad is all 100% true. The guy beat the shit out of me from when I was 6 until I was about 14. And I'm not talking spankings. I'm talking fucking like beating me, and I'm ass whoopings. Like, there is some fucking bad moments, and that shit I've been able to slowly get through. I loved my dad to the day he died, even when he was beating me, because that's who I am. That's my chemical makeup. Some people hate their parents because of that. I just realized in my head, I justified it by that's the way he was raised. He was raised in Nazi Germany during a war. That's how his father raised him. It's different. I get along with a lot of immigrants better than a lot of my white friends from my white town I grew up in. I was hanging out with non-white people and immigrants, and because they had that same way. I grew up in a European American house. My mom's American. My dad is a hardcore European. I had a way different upbringing than most of my friends, and it was confusing to me, and to this day, it was like,
Trevor, you brought up a really important thing, and kind of to tie this back to the original comment that we're making about comedians, and a lot of them using open mics as therapy. First of all, everything you're saying, Trevor, is of a person who's coming. It's about self-discovery, finding yourself, loving yourself more, setting boundaries as a way of taking care of yourself more. And then on top of that, it's about forgiveness. And my father was a horrible human being, but I found it in my heart to love him again, because I realized that he was just as broken as I was. You know what I mean? He gave me what he got, and he knew. And when you look at it from a perspective of these people, whether you believe they should, we are that product. And so you have to find it within your soul to understand that they couldn't help doing what they did. They were broken too. And when you really start looking at who they were and how they did what they did, even if you don't respect it, even if you, whatever it is, for you to heal, for me to heal, I had to learn how to love myself first, and then I had to forgive and love my parents.
Yeah. And I talked to my dad about a lot of stuff, but I never talked to him about our childhood, because I would bring up stuff to my dad about because he grew up in Germany during World War II as a real young kid, and he had polio. So he spent a lot of time in hospitals during a war. His city got flattened, all this shit. He's got a crazy story. He's got Jewish blood. He's a German. Like, it's fucking wild. And he was just raised different, and he brought what he knew here and did that. And then after, I think I was the last because there's 7 people in my family, 6 boys and a girl. And I was the last one that got the beatings. Because then my sister was below me and she never got the beatings. I think she got her ass kicked once. And then my youngest brother, he was the youngest and he was little. So I was the last of it. And I watched, I think it was last year, I think it was Tyler Perry's speech. He talked about and why he got into comedy. And I was watching it when I was living in Bel Air, and I'm watching the speech, and it was amazing. And he talked about how he used comedy to get away from the abuse in his family, and he thought if he could be funny, it could divert it. And I watched it and I just poured like just a child. I just bawled, and I was like, that's exactly what I felt like. That's why I had this comedian thing to me, and I used comedy not just to save myself, but to calm the whole hell that we went through. Because my dad wasn't an alcoholic, he was a rageaholic. He didn't care. He didn't need booze to beat you. It was the opposite. He had booze in him and he felt good. He was like me. He's like, I'm going to drink and I'm going to sing in German until I pass out and then fuck my wife. Like, that was my dad. So when I saw that, I completely, like, I connected so much with that speech, and I'm like, that's it. That's exactly why I got it. I've always been funny or keep the mood light, because I'm always worried that something bad could happen if you don't keep it light. And I do that a lot. You see that on my social media. I kind of instigate shit. I keep things light. I fuck around a little bit, because especially now with how awful things are politically, it's like I think comics need to, like, find a way to not bring people together. It sounds tacky, but just kind of like soften the blow. Shit's fucked up right now. It's the worst it's ever been. I've seen things are just getting worse, and that means things can get better. But like I said, my experience, man, that's what it was. And there's it was tough. And most men want to make their fathers happy. That was their thing, make our dad proud. And my dad said that last year a couple times to me. So when my dad told me that, I'm like, this fucker's going to die soon. Because he's never once said that he was proud of me. And I'm like, this fucker's dying soon. I was like, I know it. He's going soon.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think of that?
Listen, I've known Trevor for like 2 years, and he helped me get sober because my fucking drinking was out of control. And to sum it up, to sum up the show, I would say, Trevor, you've come a long way. You know what you want to do. We basically solved your problem, but you did it yourself. You know you don't want to book shows anymore. You know you don't want to work in alcohol anymore. You know you want to do stand-up, and you want to work during the day. So you basically solved your problem today. All you got to do is stay sober. And, if Ron wants to bang you once a week or you want to bang trannies, you guys can work something out. What's your
put on a wig?
Ron?
Well, first of all, Trevor, I loved everything I heard from you tonight because, first of all, I hadn't heard that aspect of you, and you have a very powerful story, and I look forward to seeing you on stage. I'm sure a lot of that's going to continue to come out, and I love hearing your journey to self-love and how you beat your addictions. I find a lot of commonality in that, and and I just really appreciate that story. And like Mike and Jeff, I've had a rough childhood. I mean, Mike was raised by raccoons in a trash can. So, so he never had a father figure that didn't hand him a banana peel and a peanut shell.
That's funny.
That's fucking hilarious.
We all have our challenges, right? We all have our challenges, and but in particular, knowing that you were running a bar and these open mics in recovery just speaks towards the strength of the type of a person that you are. And you've always been a man of integrity with me. So I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for giving all comedians an opportunity to be able to come and work out their stuff at your place and do shows. I've done shows there, as you know. And I just want to congratulate you on the journey and the realizations and everything like that. And as your friend, I look forward to seeing what your next act is and what you want to do, because whatever you plan, whatever you put your mind to, you're going to be successful at it. And and I support you. And I support
Jeff,
I support you in the way that I can.
Close it out for us.
Yeah, I think Trevor, you did a great job of looking inside yourself during this this quarantine.
Yeah.
I think you've grown a lot from this quarantine. You didn't waste it like a lot of people have. You actually looked inside yourself and explored yourself and said, you know what, these are the good parts, these are the bad parts, and these are the things I'm not going to deal with anymore, so I can enjoy the good parts. And I think that's
absolutely
awesome. And so I really want to say thank you again for the stage time. You let me go up there and be as racist or make
Jeff, no,
not you, Jeff.
No.
And I appreciate that, Trevor. Matter of fact, Trevor came up to me one time and said, Jeff, you were so black, I thought I was light skinned.
Hold on, real quick, I gotta tell you. So we were at Vicky's about a week or so ago, me, Mike, and Jeff, and there was these young brothers came in, Trevor, and sat down. You have never seen Jeff light up when he saw niggas in the audience. I mean, it was like a white kid. It was like a white kid in the Disneyland. This motherfucker just lit up and shit.
That's great.
I've never seen him like that before. He was in a good mood. He was happy.
Oh, that's good.
And I cussed out a stripper.
Yeah, and Mike, he was happy for at least 5-6 minutes, wasn't he? It was like the longest you've ever seen him happy in your life.
Hey, Trevor, I had these black kids drop so much knowledge on them. The kid gave me $20 when I walked off stage and said thank
20
you.
bucks.
Oh, shit.
He did give
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
20
money.
bucks. 20 bucks and Michael fuck another fat hooker.
Yes. I don't do that anymore. Sober Mike doesn't fuck fat hookers anymore.
Oh, it
Sober
sucks
Mike's good.
sometimes.
Sober Mike's been a good
Man.
boy.
So yeah, Trevor, we wanna thank you, man, for being on.
Yeah.
So you think you got problems? And again, you know,
Yes.
and anybody watching this is remember you can email or DM myself, Mike, Ron. Thank
By
you
the
again.
way, real quickly, if you're thinking of messaging Trevor to try and get stage time during a motherfucking pandemic when the goddamn
Leave
building
my
is boarded,
friend alone.
where
Exactly.
the goddamn building is literally boarded up and spray painted on it.
Yeah.
The building is boarded up. You're not getting stage time.
And
Now,
you
actually-
know who you are. You
Hey.
know who you are.
Actually,
Leave
Trevor.
it alone. Quit comedy, motherfuckers. It's over. COVID has killed comedy. Fuck you people.
Actually, Trevor's looking for somebody to do an HBO special down at the Sycamore. So if you can do an HBO special, call
I'm
Trevor.
gonna do my own special. I'm gonna be one of those motherfuckers.
All right. And by the way, Trevor, it was I think it was like the week before COVID shut down. You were able to pull Mike's foot out of that rat trap. Thank you very much for that. That was
Old dirty bastard. From you to it's beautiful. From
Hey.
you, it's a beautiful thing, old dirty bastard.
We want to thank everybody for listening. And again, this has been So You Think You Got Problems.
So you think you got problems?
so you think you got problems.
Yeah.
All
My
right.
man
Good night,
Trevor,
motherfuckers.
thank you very much. You guys have a great night.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you.